is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. New for you at 4, a Grand Forks man is at the center of a brutal sexual assault investigation. The victim told detectives 53-year-old Craig Peltier approached her outside an apartment building and asked to use the bathroom, allegedly pulling her inside the bathroom, pushing her to the floor. Court documents say he physically and sexually assaulted the woman despite her pleas to stop. She was hospitalized for broken ribs and bruises all over her body. Peltier is charged with 1 felony count of gross sexual imposition by force. If convicted, he faces a maximum of life in prison without the possibility of parole. The man accused of shooting and killing a Grand Forks woman earlier this month is now facing new charges in Grand Forks County Court. Ahmed Abdullahi is already facing murder and unlawful possession of a firearm charges in connection to the death of Megan Gustafson. Now he's also charged with felony attempted robbery and theft. The attempted robbery charge is in connection to an incident just hours before Gustafson was killed when police say he tried to rob a man with a gun. The driver involved in a crash on 12th Avenue North in Fargo last night has been cited with driving under suspension and DUI. Fargo police say that driver lost control, rolled into the building, causing some second and third floor balconies to collapse. The driver and their passenger were taken to the hospital, but they are expected to be okay. Police have forwarded a report to the state's attorney's office for charges of DUI, serious injury, and criminal vehicular injury. A teenager remains in critical condition after being hit by a car in West Fargo yesterday. Police say a 13-year-old boy was riding on 8th Street East and crossing 33rd Avenue when he was hit by an SUV. 21-year-old Kyle Hagen told police he didn't see the bicycle crossing the road. He was not hurt, but the police report indicates charges against him are possible. Charges is also possible against a Moorhead man after a crash that killed 2 people and hurt 3, including 2 children. That happened Saturday on Highway 18 south of Hunter. The North Dakota Highway Patrol says a woman in an SUV was stopped on the highway and wanting to turn into a driveway when she was rear-ended by a pickup driven by 43-year-old Jason Olsenowski of Moorhead. Her SUV was then pushed into an oncoming car. Both people in that second SUV were killed. The woman who was rear-ended and 2 children in her vehicle were hurt, one seriously. Olsenowski has minor injuries. All 3 vehicles were totaled. The Department of Transportation says multiple people died on North Dakota roads over the weekend. So far this year, there have been 86 deaths. The majority of those crashes are from people crossing into other lanes or simply driving off the road. They say many times these crashes are preventable and people need to take personal responsibility behind the wheel.
Distraction is a huge one, not paying attention to the road, reaching for something. These are all things that can be avoided, and we don't have to have these crashes if we all drove distraction free and drove sober and followed posted speed limits.
Reducing the number of crashes and deaths is part of the DOT's Vision Zero strategy. Now here's Hutch with a first look at your forecast. Hutch?
Stacy, thanks so much, and happy Monday, everybody. Hey, beautiful colors setting up across the valley. You're looking at our Devil's Lake home of economy sky cameras. We're checking out a view toward the lake there. I gotta tell you, it's starting to peak in some places in northern Minnesota. So beautiful visions across our valley with temperatures in the 70s for most of you in Minnesota. 80s here. We did cool off, but just a pinch to begin our work week over those high temperatures we saw on Sunday, well into the 80s. The peak of the heat is just off to the west of us, and it is making its way towards us. The hottest day of the forecast period is upon us tomorrow. I'll have details on that in a minute, but right now we have quiet conditions across the valley. We stay in the 70s until we get into the sunset hours, then we'll slip into those 60s. South winds will continue to be breezy throughout the evening, but not too gusty. Does look like Grand Forks will see similar temperatures. Stacy, I'll have details on not only how hot we get on Tuesday, but a chance of rain in the forecast as well. We'll give you all the splashy details here in a minute.
All right, thanks, Hutch. An investigation is underway into what caused a deadly train derailment in Montana. At least 3 people were killed and dozens more hurt, just with some cars jumping off the tracks. That happened on an Amtrak route from Chicago to Seattle. Rail cars were tossed on their sides, passengers stranded and luggage scattered. The train was carrying approximately 141 passengers and 17 crew members.
I was lucky in that I was able to grab a hold of the coffee table, and I just held on to that, and my legs were dangling down below and the windows broke out down below, and which is how we eventually escaped after the train stopped.
There were routine inspections just days before. That part of the track was looked at on September 23rd as part of BNSF's regular inspection program. Once the NTSB discovers what caused the accident, they say they're committed to taking action to prevent anything like this from happening again. Investigators will also look at what led to the injuries and deaths and whether seatbelts could have prevented them. This could be a decisive week for President Biden's legislative agenda as the roughly $1 trillion infrastructure package, which has already been passed in the Senate, is making its way through the House. Skylar Henry has details now from the White House.
The House begins debate today on a nearly $1 trillion infrastructure package.
You know, I'm never bringing a bill to the floor that doesn't have the votes.
However, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has pushed back the vote on the bill from this afternoon until Thursday as she attempts to shore up support for the plan. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, the head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, says she has at least 60 votes to block the infrastructure bill. Progressive Democrats are demanding the House and Senate first pass a $3.5 trillion spending bill that includes new funding for the child tax credit, universal pre-K, home health care, and much more.
If somebody wants less than $3.5 trillion, tell us what you want to cut. Do you want to cut the child care? Do you want to cut paid leave? What is it you want to cut? And then let's figure it out from there.
Last night, two moderate House Democrats announced they would support the spending bill to get infrastructure passed. With Democrats holding a slim majority in the House and an even 50-50 split in the Senate, President Biden needs even more Democratic support if he hopes to pass either bill.
I'm optimistic about this week. It's going to take the better part of the week, I think.
Republicans are unanimous in their opposition to more spending.
They are in the midst of an absolutely unprecedented, very damaging spending spree on a scale that we have never seen.
Some Democrats agree they'll likely have to cut the price tag down from $3.5 trillion in order to get it passed. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Republicans say they will also not support an increase in the spending limit, which could lead to a government shutdown. That measure pays for spending already authorized by Congress and does not cover either the infrastructure bill or the spending bill now being debated on Capitol Hill. Today, President Biden received his COVID-19 booster shot. That was the president's third dose of the Pfizer vaccine. A week ago, the FDA gave Pfizer emergency use authorization for their booster dose for people 65 and up, including people at high risk of severe disease and frontline workers. The president is urging eligible people to get their boosters as soon as they can, while still asking Americans to get their first shots. The White House says it has enough supply for every American to receive the Pfizer booster.
The bottom line is that you're fully vaccinated and you're highly protected now from severe illness, even if you get COVID-19. You're safe, and we're going to do everything we can to keep it that way with the boosters. But let me be clear, boosters are important, but the most important thing we need to do is get more people vaccinated.
So far, 20 million Americans are eligible for the booster after reaching the 6-month mark following their second dose. As COVID-19 remains at the forefront for many, the North Dakota Department of Health is reminding people flu season now just around the corner. The governor and state health officials gathered in Bismarck today where they got vaccinated and encouraged North Dakotans to get their flu shot too. North Dakota has a new Teacher of the Year. The Department of Public Instruction chose Brett Doctor, a 6th grade teacher in Harvey. He's been teaching and coaching football for more than 20 years. He says he's humbled and honored, and his students joined him to celebrate at the Capitol. Other finalists include Sherry Jurdy, a teacher at Grand Forks Community High School, and Matthew Nielsen, a science teacher in Valley City. There's a pop-up food distribution plan for tomorrow in Moorhead that starts at 4:30 until 125 boxes are gone. The setup will be in the parking lot at A Place for Hope, located at 2419 12th Avenue South in Moorhead. And we want to take a moment to remind you once again about our effort to help feed the hungry. Already more than $30,000 has been raised to stock the shelves of the Great Plains Food Bank, but our goal is $50,000. Corwin Automotive matching all gifts up to $50,000 made by the end of this month. You can find the link to donate right on our website, valleynewslive.com. Just look for the Stock the Shelves logo. Still to come on Valley News Live at 4, the push for information for women concerning the COVID vaccine and the short and long-term effects on reproductive health.
Our gorgeous weather to begin the work week. A beautiful rising sun this morning captured by our Luther Family Forward View. Now, as we head through the day today, temperatures did manage to hit 80 degrees in the FM area, but it will be even hotter tomorrow. I'll have hour-by-hour details on that and a chance of rain next.